So hi everyone, my name is Leane. I discovered the crypto space 2 years ago, and I got very inspired by all the projects that are being leveraged by blockchain technology. I found that all data is open and available, so I decided that I wanted to learn more about how to work with data in the blockchain. And I quickly realized how steep the learning curve is into the space. So in this journey, I also discovered something about myself, which is this big drive to onboard people into the space, and specifically into DAOs, which are decentralized autonomous organizations. And we will get into this concept in a bit. But that's why I spent the last month working with data to transform it into understandable information to simply make it more accessible to anyone that might be interested. So first off, the data that I used is conformed by around 300,000 transactions in between wallets that hold cryptocurrency. From where I really focused on the date time, from to quantity and method variables, and around 6,000 governance proposals, which are decisions made by inside of these organizations, from where I really digged into the title, body, and space. And then I used the natural language toolkit, NLTK, to perform topic modeling on them. So I grabbed all of this data from Etherscan, that is it's a block explorer. I used GraphQL's API to extract proposals from Snapshot, which is a voting platform that DAOs use. And I used June Analytics to extract other on-chain data. So as I mentioned before, DAOs are decentralized autonomous organizations. And let's start from the O to define them properly. They are organizations where coordination and collaboration between humans happen in order to fulfill some common goals. They are autonomous because they are self-governing, and this is what makes DAOs so special, because the organizations are built on top of a software, a smart contract that can be run in any computer without the presence of any government or controlling institution. And they are decentralized because they are global and uncensorable. And to explain this decentralization a little bit better, I'm going to dive into 3 key points. The first one is payments, because DAOs are free to trade permissionlessly without any person in the network. And in this scatter plot, we can see the outcome of a wallet segmentation that I performed on the transactions data, where we can identify 3 clear types of transactions: the management transactions, the most frequent contributor transactions, and the payments of bounties. The second concept that helps to define decentralization is workforce. And what you can see in the background here is mainly a visual representation that I created with Python of the activity between all wallets in a DAO, in which most DAOs are just like open to contributions from anyone willing to give their work in exchange for cryptocurrency. And at this point, we can see that DAOs are breaking with what we know of organizations as hierarchical. And this is when we might be wondering, how are decisions made in these organizations? So the answer is open governance. And this means that any member of a DAO can propose an idea, and all members can vote democratically on every decision. And here we can see the number of votes per proposal in one of these DAOs. You might also be wondering what kind of proposals are risen, and the answer is all kinds. But for the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to focus on one specific type, which is impact DAOs. And they are defined as Web3 projects that create positive externalities. So I was super curious about the things that these organizations were talking about, and what they actually meant with positive externalities. So I took 11 DAOs from this typology and performed a topic modeling, which is a method for unsupervised collection of documents for finding a group of words within them that best represents the information in that collection. So we can see that there are 5 different topics. The 2 biggest ones are words related with coordination and DAOs that work towards experience-related goals. And you can see that the word community is common in all of the topics, but I decided to keep it because it actually makes a lot of sense to have this word here, because impact DAOs in general are very focused on working for a better future, not only for the communities, but for everyone. In the health cluster, we can see words like funding or autophagy, because these are organizations formed by biologists, doctors, and professionals from the health industry that are working on investigation projects. And then we have social and communication topics. In the social one, we can see UBI as one of the most common words used, because many social DAOs are now discussing the concept of universal basic income, and it is also the name of a native token of one of these pioneering social DAOs. So before I finish, I'm gonna walk you through a little flow that will ideally be part of the final form of this project. And so let's imagine that we're in a website and we're interested in one of these topics, let's say community. We would be able to click on it and it will show us a list of different DAOs that are talking about community. And in case we would be interested in learning more about one of them, let's say Gitcoin, we will click on them and it will prompt us to a little profile of this DAO where we could see a number of contributors, voting participation index, the topics that are being talked and discussed in the proposals that are going to be voted, the languages inside of the DAO, and if we're interested in learning more, we could click up here, and it would show us like a little description of what the DAO does, and then we will get some links to their socials. So this is what I have so far. I spent many hours gathering this data and then exploring on Python and then ideating on this. Basically, my aim with this is to continue on building this project that seeks to provide real data, insights, and information about DAOs from all of their typologies. And for it to comply with the nature of human collaboration, I want it to be an open source project. So I've uploaded a repo on GitHub with all of the datasets that I used and the models implemented that may or may have not been shown in the presentation. So if anyone sees some value in this and wants to get involved, these are some of the next steps that the project will go through. And yeah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.